Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. So when you're ready to move past your handheld router, the next move is probably going to be something like this router table that I'm leaning on right now. Most router tables are the same. They're a handheld router that's mounted underneath a table, and you can raise the bit up and down. It makes things a little bit faster, and you have less of a chance of like falling the router falling off the piece, or you have a much bigger base to work with. So my router table started out as a top that I bought from Rockler, and if you back up a little bit, I just made a base for it and screwed it down. It was a pretty inexpensive way to get what I wanted. The top comes with a fence, comes with a dust port. We're going to talk a little bit about dust collection before it's all said and done. And it comes with these interchangeable plates here, so you can adapt it to fit different size routers. And then you can adjust the depth of cut using this guy here and raise and lower the bit. One thing I do is I have a couple of the exact same routers that I can just switch in and out of that plate. So the really hot setup on a router table is going to be these spiral cut bits with a bearing either on the top or on the bottom. So the way that I've got it set up right now, I actually do not recommend this is for visual aid only. So you'll notice you've got the cutter and you've got another bearing on top, just like on the handheld router. And what you would do is you'd manipulate the depth of cut. In this case, it's upside down. And your piece would run on the cutter and your template would actually run on this bearing bit. And you can just move that around. The reason I say I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this is a big cut to take 1 3/4 inches all in one pass. I mean, unless you're just talking about like the teeniest amount. I would actually have it go the other way. And I would have the bearing on the bottom and the cutter on the top, and then actually work your way in several passes. So you remember when I said I wouldn't take off that much of a cut in one pass? Actually, what I would do is I would get a bit that has the bearing on the bottom. This is just for, again, just for visual aid, and put this in your router table and run the template on the bottom, and you can actually cut up into the piece a little bit at a time. So for a little more of an investment, you can get a bigger diameter cutter, and that's going to pay off huge when you're ready to start doing a lot of these. You'll have less tear out the bigger the cutter you go, and the shallower the pass of a cut that you take. Probably the ultimate router is my beloved pin router. I know I've done a lot of videos on it, but we'll go back out to the shop now and I'll show you what that's like if you're ready to have the ultimate router setup. So I got a close-up shot going here. Here's the pin part of the pin router, and it can be raised and lowered. Here's the cutter part of the pin router, and it can be raised and lowered in a couple of different ways. One, this whole ram moves up and down about 4 inches, and the entire head assembly moves up about 4 inches. So what you would do, oh, by the way, the pin is oriented exactly the same as the cutter bit. So if you were to move the template around the pin, any piece of stock that you have attached to said template is going to get cut out exactly the same as the pattern. I've just been informed by the legal department that the ultimate router setup is probably a CNC machine. Well, okay, that's cool. You know, I don't have a CNC machine. I don't use those. They're really neat, and you can do some amazing stuff with them. Maybe we'll do another video where we go to Kevin's shop and we look at his Fadal CNC, but that's kind of a, boy, if you're buying a CNC machine, you probably don't need me to tell you what tools you need to build guitars with. So let's take a moment to talk about shop safety. A router is a high-speed cutting tool, and eye protection is absolutely mandatory. There are some people who think that respiratory protection as well as hearing protection is also absolutely mandatory. Sometimes I am one of those people. One thing that we've started to work towards here in this shop is dust collection. Dust collection is one of those things where as long as it's easy to do, you'll actually do it, unless you're just really anal about it. So we've tried to make things so simple when it comes to dust collection that you know, it's almost easier to do it than it is to not do it. Anyway, so remember to take care of yourself, people. So that's the first installment of the essential tools that I think you need to have if you want to build guitars. Routers are very, very versatile shop tools. You know, if you're maybe making cabinets, you probably wouldn't use routers as much, but when you're making guitars, especially electric guitars, you use them all the time. So I have routers all over. I don't even know how many routers I got. And if you find a good deal on routers, buy them and just leave bits in them, and you know, have them be specific to one purpose. It's really a time saver. So templates and routers, go out and make that stuff happen. If you have any questions about the video, please leave something in the comment section. If you have any ideas on videos in this series that you'd like to see, please let us know. We'll do our best to get those to you. This is Matt with Texas Toast Guitars, reminding you that if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what I do. Thanks for watching, everybody. Come on, I feel the big titty woman.